who is believed to be in occultation until the end of time. The Imams trace their descent from Ali, the nephew of Muhammad, who was the first Imam. The 12th Imam remains hidden or occulted until the day of resurrection. His occultation occurred in AD 873, AH 260. AH refers to after Hijrah. There is some echo of the occulted element in the story of Joseph in the Quran. Joseph is the 12th son with 11 brothers. In the most significant part of his story, Joseph remains occulted from his brothers and family until the predestined moment when he reveals himself. Also, Joseph is the title of Surah 12 of the Quran. 12 is the number of the temple, the highest complex number of 13 that consists of multiples 2, 3, 4, and 6. It is a complex harmonic that creates a stasis. This is why plus 1 is 13, the frequency of the circulation of cosmic time. The tradition of the Imams is the succession and blood lineage of Muhammad. However, all of Muhammad's sons died. Only his daughter Fatima remained. At this time, females were not appointed to this role, so the succession fell to Muhammad's nephew, Ali. Ali was one of the first people to embrace Islam and was very close to Muhammad. Ali was considered the first Imam in this tradition. In the tradition of the 12 Imams, plus 1, 13 is Fatima, the female principal, while the 14 is Muhammad. In that tradition, they say that each Imam comes to the world bearing 4 different kinds of light, and each light has 7 degrees, equaling 28. According to the Shiite tradition, if it were not for the occulted 12th Imam, the world would fall apart. This is due to the belief that the 12th Imam holds the axis of the world. This is an interesting point to consider in light of the circumpolar rainbow bridge. Seen symbolically, it is this occult spiritual knowledge that maintains the world order. Without the role of the Imams in maintaining the spiritual axis of our world, there would be absolute chaos and the world would have been destroyed a long time ago. This information is also interesting in light of a potential pole shift. In the tradition of the 12 Imams, 11 are known and 1 is in occultation. No name is given to this one, though he is believed to have been born in 869 Christian calendar on the day 15 Shaban, the 8th moon of the lunar calendar. Note that in the Sunnah tradition the date 15 Qaban marks the day when Muhammad supposedly presents the record of all births and deaths that were to occur in the next year. The 12th Imam appeared early during the 11th Baktun of the Holy Wars, AD 830 to 1224. For this reason, the 12th Imam went into occultation and supposedly remains alive, at least in the 4th dimension, until the end of time. It is believed that he will appear as the Mahdi, or the manifestation of the 12th Imam, to close the Eon. The cube is derived from the foundation of the plan of the throne of God as a 2-dimensional square made 3-dimensional into a cube. The cube represents the form of self-perfection, making the Qibla of the Kaaba the center of the cosmos. The cube maintains symmetrical perfection and remains constant throughout all scales. It always has 6 sides that are equidistant from an invisible center point. The Kaaba is a perfect geomantic anchor that encompasses a complete cosmology. It is also a template or model of the potential of the universal cube as a holder or carrier of different systems of knowledge. The 4 corners of the Kaaba represent the 4 prophets: Moses, Abraham, Jesus, and Noah. In the Shiite tradition, on the 4 upper corners, there is Muhammad followed by the first 3 Imams. There are stones placed at each corner, representing physical places on earth, with the most significant one being the black stone. Above the black stone is the place of universal intelligence, and above the other 3 corners are the universal soul, nature, and matter. There is a whole cosmology of the universal cube, and the cube of the universe. The symbolism of the cube relates to the human going toward the self-perfection of his or her own divine nature, the yoga of self-perfection. In this sense, the cube is eternal. It has no history. The eternal cube represents the divine religion that will never perish as long as the temple of the Kaaba endures, as prophesied by the 8th Imam. In this sense, the cube signifies a structure of 4th-dimensional intelligence that is projected into our mind that symbolically epitomizes our journey to self-perfection. Its prototype is the Al-Bayt ul-Mamur, the house of Allah, above the 7th heaven. As the form of the Al-Bayt ul-Mamur, the cube correlates to systems of divine knowledge. For example, the cube with its 8 opposite corners can represent the 8 triplets of the I Ching. The time triplet is at the upper left with the moon triplet, and the space triplet is at the upper right with the sun triplet. The other 4 corners represent the sensible world: thunder, mountain, stillness, lake, and wind. These 8 triplets, in all of their permutations, create the 64 codons. The 6 lines of the codon also fit the 6 sides of the cube in a process called cubing the codon. The origin of the cube, Kaaba, goes back to the template of the original throne of God. This throne is seen in a form like a diamond or a square, much like the Hunabku 21 and the 4 gates of light: red, green, yellow, and white. These are the colors of the 4 gates of light of the throne of God. It is divided into 2 parts: beginning and esoteric, and ending of things and exoteric. The throne of God manifests at the beginning and end. Exoteric is revealed knowledge, and esoteric is hidden knowledge. These 4 gates of light form a square. When this square is projected, it forms a foundation of the cube. The 4 pillars of the cube create an upper part that signifies the 4th-dimensional world, the supersensible, while the lower part of the cube is the sensible realm, signifying the 3rd-dimensional world. There are 8 supports to the throne. The cube has 8 corners which signify these supports. As the visual form of the law of time, the cube first appeared to valum votan as a galactic time atom cube, composed of 4 nested tetrahedra: red, white, blue, and yellow. Within this tetrahedra, there is a perfectly blue corner where the 3 blues meet, and a perfect red corner where the 3 reds meet, and likewise for the white and yellow. These are similar to the light gates of the throne. Not long after the time atom cube revealed itself, came the perception of the imploded cube containing 3 internal planes: plane of mind, plane of will, and plane of spirit. This time atom cube was perceived as an explosion of these planes. This occurred on resonant 15, 24th of January 1991. The cube has 6 sides: top and bottom, left and right, and front and back. The top and bottom planes are created by the horizontal plane that cuts across the center. The 2 sides, left and right, are created from a plane at the center that is perpendicular to the horizontal plane. The front and back sides are created by another plane perpendicular to the plane that creates the left and right sides. The locus of consciousness, or the center of creation, is at the center where these three planes meet: plane of mind, top and bottom, plane of will, left and right, and plane of spirit, front and back. Number is a dimension unto itself. 6 is actually the value of the cube. The plane of mind is space, the plane of spirit is time, the plane of will is number, and the point at the center is the plane of transcendence, which is the throne of God. Each of the planes has 2 sides, for a total of 6 sides of the cube. Space represents matter, time represents energy, number represents measure, cube represents consciousness. Space becomes quantity measure, time becomes telepathy. Each plane is one dimension, corresponding to the 6 dimensions of consciousness and the 6 days of creation. So the cube is the perfect form of creation, and is the manifestation of the base triplet, which is the same as the binary triplet. The cube has 6 sides and 8 vertices, which is the galactic harmonic or the octave. 6 plus the center point is 0 or 7, the throne of God. If you add the 8 vertices plus the 1 in the center, you get 9. Each plane or face has 4 edges, for a total of 12. So there are 12 edges, 6 faces, and 1 center point, which totals 19. The 12 edges plus 1 center equals 13. The cube is fundamentally a foundation of knowledge. The psychomythic drama of Adam is the drama of knowledge. Adam desired knowledge. Satan said, "You can have it all now." Then came the fall and the saga of history. A process has unfolded throughout history of determining and defining what knowledge is and what is valid knowledge. Today, information is mistaken for knowledge. This is so much information that we do not know what to do with it. As a result, there is little understanding as to what genuine knowledge is. As a system of knowledge, the 6 sides of the cube correspond to the 6 darshans, or points of view, of the Vedic system, where the foundation, bottom, darshan is called Samkhya, the mathematical, logical, or cosmological point of view. The top corresponds to Vedanta, the metaphysical, non-dual point of view. The plane of mind consists of Vedanta above and Samkhya below. The plane of will corresponds to Visheka, the scientific naturalistic point of view, right side, and Niyaya, logic or dialectical point of view, left side. In the plane of spirit, the backside is yoga or supersensible point of view, and the front side is Mimamsa, the theological point of view. This is how the Vedic system corresponds to the 3 planes and 6 faces of the cube. We can define a whole system of knowledge, whether it is the Vedic system or the I Ching system, through the intrinsic metaphysics or logics of the cube. Meditation on the cube reveals its structure as a manifestation of primal knowledge. It is what is before and after the realm of conceptualization. It is the primal self-perfection, and yet it is the self-perfection that we all aspire to. It is the alpha and omega of the projection of the supermental into the domain of the discriminating mind. This is the final metaphor of the goal of our self-perfection, where the final goal has been equalized. The cube is a metaphor